Hello again, welcome to the second video of Wi-Fi hacking. So we're back again with the same modem as before. I keep saying modem, it's a Wi-Fi access point. There we have it, it's the Netgear business Wi-Fi access point. I got it right this time. I'm going to use a phone to connect to it, and today we're going to try and crack the password so essentially we can get what we call free Wi-Fi. Before we do all that, there are a few things we need to understand. Because when cracking Wi-Fi, there's of course it's illegal, but also we need to understand what is a channel. We also need to understand how signals is traveling throughout the air, and we need to understand how to intercept those signals. So I'm going to start up with loading up my trusty tool called Cant, and basically create a small Wi-Fi router here for you to look at. It's going to be a beautiful one, like this and that. Boom, there we go. That's a Wi-Fi access point. And the access point is going to intercept and send signals. The signals is going to intercept can either be other access points, or it could be from a phone or a laptop or basically anything. You know, the world of IoT these days can all be on the internet. So we are connected with my phone, which is this one here, and this is my phone. It's beautiful. It's a big screen, not a small screen, like big screen. And I'm connected to, let's assume this is my IP at home, and basically we are communicating with each other in some way. But it's done over Wi-Fi, so I'm gonna write Wi-Fi right there. How am I gonna intercept as someone in the middle intercepting signals they are communicating with each other? So the access point at the phone here is sending signal to each other. So let me just delete the other one here. So I'm gonna draw my computer. I am sitting right here. This is my computer. It's a beautiful computer these days. And I have my keyboard right there now. It's very beautiful. Alright, so this is me. And onto my computer I have a small Wi-Fi adapter connected by USB with one big antenna. And I'm really gonna try and some way read the signals in the air. Now my Wi-Fi adapter is already connected to the computer. It looks like this. It is called an Alpha card. You can buy it on Amazon for, I think the cheapest one is $32, $33 or something like that. It's pretty cheap. The little more expensive one, more powerful one, is $65, I think it is. And that's going to be that. So you need one of those, but I'm going to put some links in the description below on the hardware you need and the things you need to know and the commands that execute, you know, different. Well, I'm not sure about the commands because you also need to, you know, practice and type it. So I'm not a big believer of copy pasting. So, but I'm going to do some links for the different products I'm going to use, definitely. So basically it's Wi-Fi signals. So whenever my phone is sending a signal out, it is not like one person standing here, another person standing there, and it's that person tells something in that direction. It doesn't work like that when it's Wi-Fi, so that's a big no-no. What really happens is that the phone here is emitting Wi-Fi signals as, let's just assume it's circles for now. And I'm going to try and make it a beautiful circle. I'm not expert of circles, so I'm sorry for that. And the longer the circle gets away from the phone, the weaker the signal. Now, at some point, I'm going to hit the many lines more. I'm going to hit the access point. I'm going to hit my Wi-Fi adapter. And then we can intercept the signals. This is called the omnidirectional signals. All right, so let me see if we can find a let's see, omnidirectional signal, a small picture here. Well, I don't have definitely any specific picture I can show you. Well, I could show something like this. Let me just see if I can get it out. This one there. So basically, it could be something like this. that we're looking at the actual spectrum, and it's difficult to look at, and basically it's not like a full circle all the way, but you probably get the point. It's some sort of signal being sent in different, left and right, if that's gonna work for you. So there are some differences to how you can, hold the device sometimes, but it's not that technical. We're gonna go in depth today. So basically, it's probably better for you to just keep the illusion that Wi-Fi is something magical that happens in the air. That is never a bad idea. It's a really good way to approach this. So just do that, and you're gonna be just fine. It's not gonna break anything, or you're not gonna be spoil anything, or the opposite of that. So at some point, the signal is gonna reach this access point there, and basically we can intercept it. Now, the thing with this monitor mode or promiscuous mode that people talk a lot about is that not all Wi-Fi adapters can be put into monitor mode or promiscuous mode, which is basically allowing the network adapter or the antenna to intercept other packages that is not intentionally meant for that particular device. So there is some automatically going on filtering stuff. This is something they created for, let me just say, I want to say for security purposes, but it's probably more like not to disturb your device too much. So it's basically only picking up the packages that is for you. So all these packages here, and I can create a small black dot on them like that, and say all these packages here that I'm sending, they are meant for the device right here, the AP device, but not for me. So in order to do that, I basically need to go into monitor mode or promiscuous mode, and then I can intercept them all. Now, when we were talking about different kind of channels on the on the Wi-Fi, we need to understand that there are from channel 1 to, this is really small. Let me see if we can delete this a bit. There we go. There are from channels 1 to 14, and it is basically only one from 1 to 11 that is allowed to be used. The last 3 channels, like 13, 12, 13 to 14, is meant for manufacturers and firmware stuff. So what you're basically gonna think about is the first to the 11th channel. So what is a channel? Now, you can think about a channel as some sort of communication tube, if you're gonna take it metaphorically. So if you are on channel 1, now this is the tube you're gonna send your traffic through, and anyone listening to this tube will basically get whatever traffic that is traveling through, and then you can listen to it. Alright, so that is not exactly how it is in reality. In reality, it is called the spectrum of gigahertz, something you can measure. Like this is a 2.4 whatever 1 gigahertz. There we go. And if you are listening to 2.41 gigahertz, for example, this is just conceptual, of course, then you will intercept the packages, which is, for example, channel 1 is that amount. Then channel 2 could, for example, be 2.42 gigahertz, which equal to channel 2. There we go. And so on. That is the way it is happening. Now, when you're talking about different gigahertz, you could talk about wavelength. So it's dependent on how the arch is on these semicircles, whatever I call them, sinus curves, I think they're called. So I'm no means an expert on radio signals. I'm hands up, I'm not. But I know a few things enough to be like, oh, that's why. And I think it's a healthy thing, an exercise for you to do, to just have the overall, that's why. But to go into it is like, what is a radio signal in essence? I think actually a radio signal is a sound wave. I saw a program once, and it's like, what you really call radio signals is basically sound waves. It's like, what? Sound waves? That's really odd. But I don't really know. But it's just, So let's get on with this, and I think we're ready to actually do some stuff. In order to put your device into monitor mode, you basically need to do a few things first. The thing you need to do is go into your Linux box and type aircrack-ng check. That is a command that's going to check for any services or processes running on your machine currently that could disturb or make it difficult for your Wi-Fi access point, your Wi-Fi adapter, sorry, to intercept the signals from the access point that I'm sending, also the phone that I have connected. I just want to check if my phone is basically connected still. At the moment, it is not connected. I'm just going to do it, connect to it. Bogus Wi-Fi, there we go, it is connected to bogus Wi-Fi right now, and that's good. Okay, so when you do that, you probably get some message saying you should kill this command, so on and so on. But what you're gonna do is basically just type check kill, and you're gonna kill all the different commands, and it will look different on different, Linux versions, distributions, and whatever you have running, but you just have to do this every time. Another thing you need to do is go ahead and type sudo aircrack-ng, and you're going to do start and VLAN 0, and the VLAN 0 is going to be the one. If you're going to go ahead and type ifconfig, you will see that you will have like your ETH and your loopback interface, and but you also have something in most occasions called VLAN 0, or it could be VLAN 1, depending on your current machine setup. I have no idea what you have, and it's very different, someone have it like MON instead, like MON. It's like, what is that? But basically, you're gonna look at this and disconnect. If you have any Wi-Fi adapters, just disconnect it. If you're sitting on a laptop and you're using your built-in laptop Wi-Fi adapter and not having any success with it, you need to buy the alpha card. This is why it's failing. I already put my VLAN into monitor mode, so basically that is writing the command sudo airmon air monitor ng, and then type start VLAN 0, and then it's gonna put it into monitor mode. If you go ahead and type ifconfig one more time, you will see that it's gonna have the name here of mon, which is short for monitor. You should be set good to go now. I have had some issues with it actually working when you're then trying to run the command to intercept traffic and monitor traffic. I'm going to show that just in a second. There are different things that can go wrong. Basically, if you have the alpha card and you do what I say in the exact order, it should work. But of course, there's always going to be someone with some weird issue. That's just reality. It's IT. If you ever look IT up in a vocabulary, it's going to be like, you don't know, right? So basically, not really going to go into details on what can go wrong, because it usually works, but I've seen this of that. Sometimes you need to reboot your virtual machine. Sometimes you need to reboot it twice or 3 times on some particular order. But you keep trying, do the same thing I'm doing, and it will work eventually. I'm pretty sure of that. I already did a small capture here before, and I was eating lunch, so it was running for 25 minutes. What it essentially is looking for is this. It's called the VPA handshake. This is the BSSID of my Wi-Fi access point, and this is my MAC address on my phone. This is the BSSID of my access point. You can see it here. BSSID is the same one. So basically in the top, it's gonna tell us that we have something called bogus Wi-Fi. It is running, and you have the VPA2 running, and it's AES, and the password is horrible, but we don't know that yet. What we're gonna do is gonna try and capture this handshake. So whenever we are connecting to the new AP, let's see if you can find the same drawing again. There we go. So let's delete all this beautiful drawing. So whenever we are trying to connect to the access point, this is the one, and I have my phone right here, okay? Then I'm gonna send some sort of, through the protocol. I'm not gonna go into the protocol of the Wi-Fi access point. It's called a beacon frame, or communication. It's going to be an authentication process. So we're trying to authenticate, log into the actual, so there's going to be some sort of password there, and that password is going to be sent to the access point, and then it's gonna authenticate us. And that authentication thing going on is what we call the handshake when we're gonna do Wi-Fi cracking. Okay, so the handshake itself is what we're gonna try and capture. A different way to do that. So one way of doing it is just listening to when someone connects and then capture it. That is one way, the easy way. Another way is saying that you are already connected. And when you're already connected, this is not really what happens. Then what happens is you send traffic back and forth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to perform something called a deauthentication attack. A deauthentication is basically me telling the access point that everyone wants to log out, or one user wants to log out. And that is what I want to do. So basically I want to tell the access point, this user that just connected to you wants to log out. And I can do that because I can see the MAC address of the users connected. This is the BSSID, the same one here there. That is the bogus Wi-Fi, the ESSID of my access point. And I can see that access point as a station. If more were connected, more lines like this would be under here. And that is exactly what we're gonna do. So, whoops. So basically what I'm gonna do is gonna run this command here called aircrack-ng VLAN 0 mon. That is my Wi-Fi adapter, which is put into monitor mode. And I'm gonna save whatever handshake into the handshake. Let me open a new terminal pretty fast and just do ls and see I have no handshake going on here. That is good. So let's close this window. What I do have here is now another C is for channel number 2, because we can see it is channel number 2. Now, in order to find out of this, you could either go into the access point and then choose a channel. I don't remember doing that, so it was just pre-built with channel 2. What you're going to do is basically run the command just like this in the first place, and that's going to expose all the different devices in the vicinity of you. So you'll have a lot more lines under this heading here, you know, a lot more different ESSID names, and you're going to get a lot more stations under with a lot more, you know, lines like this. So this section here and that section is two different sections, going to be populated with a lot more lines if you're just doing this command that I mark here, sudo aircrack-ng VLAN 0 mon. Already did that, and just not to expose anything in my vicinity, I just only showcase my channel number 2, which is the channel my access point is broadcasting signals to, and I'm going to do that BSSID, which is the exact same BSSID as my bogus Wi-Fi. This is my Wi-Fi, I own it. I do exactly what I want. If I'm not trashing with a hammer, it is perfectly legal for me because it is mine. I own it. Alright? So let's go ahead and just run this command. You can see here that it's gonna be running, and we are seeing that this device is connected to me. This is actually my phone. Sometimes it's just gonna capture the handshake, you know, and then that's yay. But if it doesn't happen just like that, there is another way for you to get it. Let's hope it doesn't just show right now pretty fast, because there will be a bad thing for, let me just see, we're going to do something called a deauthentication attack. A deauthentication attack is basically just, whoops, let's have ones, there could be a 0. It's basically just using something called air replay, and it's going to send a lot of packages. That package is going to be sent directly to this BSSID. It's going to be my bogus Wi-Fi access point, and it's going to try and deauthenticate, basically log everyone out. That is what a 0 means, and that is my monitor card. So I'm going to press enter now and write my password, and maybe if you're lucky, we're going to see that it says VPA handshake there in the top, because we're going to try and deauthenticate. Now, what it's basically saying here in the top is that a connected wireless client -C. So that is a more, let's add that, and it's gonna be FA, you can see it right here, FA88, write it out, B6, A2, C9, and B9. That is gonna be my phone. So it says that it's gonna be more effective if I target directly one device. Let me do that and just run it one more time. And hopefully at some point it's gonna deauthenticate itself. I'm gonna look at my phone right now and see what's going on. Oh, there we go. I did nothing. I just opened and look at it. So I can actually stop this now. What really happened is now I captured the handshake, and then I can just stop everything. No need to do anything more. The handshake now basically means that now I have the encrypted packages with the WPA2 AES encryption, and now I can start brute forcing it. It's gonna be these files here. So the next thing we're gonna do is to run some commands to brute force the actual handshake we got. And let me just see, I have a command here. It's gonna be, let's do sudo again. Let's use aircrack-ng. That is another very interesting tool. And we're gonna do the hack handshake. It's gonna be the cat file. And we're gonna use a word list, share word list, and basically just gonna use rock-u. If you ever did anything like hacking before, this is like, so you're basically just pointing this cracking tool to crack this handshake using this dictionary. Yes. Let's press enter. And it's running right now, and what we see is we found the key. It is called summer22, and that is indeed the key for my access point to the right. This is how easy it is to crack Wi-Fi keys. If you don't choose the correct and the good enough Wi-Fi key or password, whatever you want to call it, I can crack it like this. It's gonna be so easy for me. It took me, I don't know, like no time at all. I'm testing 9,968.56 keys per second. That's a lot of password per second. Imagine how we're gonna say like 9,368 times 60, and then you calculate that. What is that basically? So let's open up a calculator. So 9,368 times 60 seconds, that's 562,080 password per minute. Whoa. So how many passwords can I store in a file? How much time do I have? Let's assume that this is just a minute. Then I do an hour. 33,724,800 passwords. 33 million. Wow. What about a day? 24. 809 million. I'm gonna bet you that one day of cracking a hash is nothing. No one's gonna change their password for their Wi-Fi access point on a 12-hour basis. No one. So choosing passwords like, you know, summer 22 or COVID, haha, what are we gonna do? We're gonna crack it. We're gonna find free Wi-Fi. And most important of all, now I can log on to the Wi-Fi access point. And now I can start attacking the access point itself. That's also gonna have an interface. So that's gonna be another step, another tutorial. This one was basically just, you know, a small talk about channels, radio signals, promiscuous mode, aka monitor mode, the talk about the attack called deauthentication attack. And basically, deauthentication was directed to the phone, but if I didn't do the -C, I would actually do a DOS attack. All right, I would actually a DOS attack to the Wi-Fi access point, and everyone else on it would be in some way disconnected here and there. Now, because most devices re-authenticate themselves with the access point like this, if they're disconnected, it's gonna enable this for us. That's gonna be Wi-Fi crackers. So easy. I really hope that this video will help you in some way and you learn something, because I basically just want to show how easy it is. And there are tons of videos doing Wi-Fi cracking stuff on YouTube and the internet and whatever. But you know, it's not working. So this is just another attempt for you guys to think, I really need to do a really difficult password. This is the reason why when you're typing a password on the back of your Wi-Fi access point you got from somewhere, it's be totally incredible impossible to look at. It's like, what, I'm going to type this 32 digit long mishmash. Yeah, that is true. So that's it. In the next video, I'm going to do something more interesting, going to make it more difficult for me to crack the password, and we're going to look at some different kind of attacks. It's going to be beautiful, it's going to be fun, and I hope to see you there. Have a nice day. See you.